What's going on, you guys? My name's Camo. I'm a North Carolina real estate broker, and today I'm going to be letting you guys in on a little secret. And that secret is everything inside of a real estate transaction is negotiable. Something as obvious as negotiating the purchase price, or something not so obvious like negotiating your interest rate. But more on that later. So strap in because in this video, I'm going to be showing you the most important negotiations to have when buying your home. Now, don't worry, you don't need to be a professional negotiator. That's why I'm here. However, being equipped with this information can make home ownership a lot more accessible. Let's get into it. First up, and the most obvious one, is the purchase price. Haven't you noticed that they call it the asking price for a reason? It's because they're asking for it, not demanding it. Because the last thing that we want to do is overpay for a home. And by negotiating down the purchase price, you end up lowering your loan amount, your monthly payments, and your down payment amount. And guess what? Even after you're under contract, you can still negotiate the purchase price. And this is typically done when you find something wrong during your home inspection, which is why I often say that finding things wrong with the house is actually a good thing. But I'll touch on that a little bit more later. Next negotiation is the due diligence amount. Lowering the due diligence amount is the best way to limit your upfront costs. But what is a due diligence deposit? When you go under contract on a home, you're able to choose a time frame where you get to do your inspections, appraisals, make sure that the house is in good standing condition. We call this the due diligence period. So the due diligence deposit is basically you paying to take the home off the market. And the due diligence deposit is non-refundable. That's why there's this little thing called the earnest money deposit where this is refundable. Now, it's important to understand that earnest money is only refundable if the contract is terminated within that due diligence period. Both earnest money and due diligence are due 3 days after going under contract. But I want to drive this point into your head. Earnest money is refundable and due diligence money is not. And both of these deposits are basically looked at as how serious are you as a buyer. So instead of stacking up our due diligence amount, we want to stack up our earnest money deposit because, like I said, that is refundable. And the cool thing about these two things is that the money from the earnest money deposit and the due diligence deposit, when we get to the closing table, that goes towards your closing costs and down payment. I know that was a lot, so to recap, stack up the earnest money deposit because we know that we can get that back versus paying a lot of due diligence money. The third negotiation are closing costs. You can actually ask the seller to cover some or all of these costs. Closing costs and the down payment are the things that are due at closing from the buyer. And by limiting the closing costs, you're actually lowering the amount of cash due at closing, which helps us achieve the ultimate goal of keeping more of your money in your pocket. And the last negotiation are seller concessions. Negotiating seller concessions can actually cover a lot of things involved in a real estate transaction. If during the inspection period we find something wrong with the house, we are now equipped with the most powerful negotiation tactic there is, and that's something called leverage. There's three main things that we can do in a situation like this. One is have the seller fix it. Two, we can take the cost that it would take to repair it off of the purchase price. Or three, we can terminate the contract during our due diligence period and get our earnest money back. What we can also do is negotiate seller concessions for buyer incentives. This means having the seller pay for things like home warranty, or doing a 2-1 buy down where they actually lower your interest rate 2 points the first year, 1 point the next year, and then you're back to your original rate in year 3. You can even ask the seller to pay for the inspection and the appraisal. Now, it is important to understand that depending on your loan type, that does limit the amount of seller concessions you can get. And I'll give you guys a little cheat sheet right here so then you can see based on the loan type, what percentage of the purchase price can they give you in concessions. So to recap, stack up the earnest money deposit, not the due diligence deposit. Sellers can cover some or all of your closing costs. And leveraging seller concessions is a great way to save money. For more stuff just like this, make sure to follow me on Instagram. On there, I give you guys tips and tricks, home tours, and give you exclusive early access to opportunities that nobody knows about yet. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be blessed, and I'll see you guys next week.